Iori Kitahara heads to the shop Grand Blue to meet with his extended family and start his new college life. However, he is shocked to discover the shop overtaken by several rowdy, drunken, naked men. As Iori runs away, two of the men from the diving club chase after him, eventually catching him and dragging him back to the shop. While trying to find someone to take the scene seriously, Iori gets swept up in the antics of the club, getting drunk and stripped of all clothing except his boxers. The next day, Iori and the two other men wake up just outside of Izu University for his orientation, but he has no time to change. After a brief encounter with Kohei Imamura, Iori tries to find someone to give him spare clothes, but he sounds like a pervert and is chased around by campus police. Eventually, Iori is initiated into the Peekaboo Diving Club by the two men from earlier, Shinji Tokita and Ryujiro Kotobuki. Iori tricks Kohei into joining the club with him, and the two freshmen are pressed into a drinking contest where even the water is a large glass of vodka. Iori realizes he hasn't actually slept in his new room yet, but the others in Peekaboo are planning a mixer with some women at the local Omi Women's College. So Iori tries to quickly make up his room to convince Nanaka he's responsible enough to go to the mixer. However, Shinji, Ryujiro, and Kohei all help decorate his room with lewd posters, creating increasingly awkward scenes when Nanaka and Chisa come to check on him, until Nanaka forces him to sleep in a rundown adjacent room. Later, Shinji and Ryujiro tried to get Iori used to being underwater at a local pool to prepare him for deep-sea diving. However, after seeing Ryujiro rip off Kohei's bottom, Iori resolves not to get involved. That night, Nanaka takes Iori to an aquarium at Chisa's request, inspiring him to try out diving. Shinji and Ryujiro inform Iori and Kohei that they are being entered into the male pageant at the Izu Spring Festival to raise money for the club, despite their objections at their respective costumes. Afterwards, Iori finally tries out deep-sea diving for the first time in a wetsuit under Ryujiro's supervision. He returns to Grand Blue, excitedly telling Chisa his experience underwater. The next morning, Iori wakes up next to a half-naked woman. Shinji and Ryujiro tell Iori that woman is Azusa, and they don't consider her a traditional woman at all. Later, Lori and Kohei are training to make okonomiyaki for the festival, while secretly trying to get Chisa drunk and convince her to enter the women's pageant so that they won't need to enter the male pageant if she wins. However, all of their attempts backfire. Azusa finally gets the boys to admit their true motives. Later that night, Azusa beats the young men in strip rock paper scissors, then convinces Chisa to give the beauty pageant a shot. The morning after, Shinji and Ryujiro announce that Chisa has decided to enter the women's pageant, under the condition that Iori and Kohei enter the men's pageant as well. Iori and Kohei's initial excitement at the Izu Spring Festival fades when they realize they have to man their club's okonomiyaki stand for most of it. Later that afternoon, the women's beauty pageant begins. Chisa takes the stage in a dress but is noticeably stiff on stage, and the club's attempts to increase her appeal only backfire. Iori comes up with an idea to throw super balls he won earlier to lift her dress up from afar with his club, but Iori soon realizes that his club left him alone on the task, as Chisa looks for revenge. While hiding from her wrath, a keiki girl appears and asks Kohei to go out with her, but he refuses. The club then has a brief party, as Chisa pressures Iori into drinking 2 liters of soju as penance, before the men's beauty pageant that evening. Keiki reappears outside their room, crying to Iori and Kohei that her friends on the tennis team saw her as a joke and rejected her from the group. At the men's pageant, the captain of the tennis club, Kudo, fights against Kohei for Azusa's love, only for Iori to rip off his disguise and reveal that Kudo was trying to attract him while disguised as Azusa, embarrassing him in front of the whole festival. Chisa and Iori are declared the winners of their respective pageants, and Keiki thanks Iori and Kohei for their act while they drink from wash tubs at the after party. The next day, Chisa and a wasted Iori are honored on stage, and Chisa declares Iori her boyfriend, thinking it will fend off the advances of the other men at the festival. The men in the audience call for his death instead. The next day in class, Iori discovers that all the men are glaring at him, and Chisa's reactions to Iori's questions enrage them further. The men in Izu University continue sending death threats, and a couple directly plan to kill Iori and Kohei and bury them in the mountains for their perceived luck with women, until the two men panic and buy their way out by promising to hold a mixer. Iori and Kohei beg Azusa to help them, and she brings Aina and Yoshiwara, a new member of Peekaboo, to set up the mixer. To their surprise, Aina is the Keiki girl, but without her makeup on. The next evening, Iori and Kohei head to a bar with Hajime Nojima and Shinichiro Yamamoto. The men are shocked when they see Aina and her three friends all wearing Keiki makeup. Shinichiro continues on trying to attract one of the women, and the rest of the men alternate between trying to help him and sabotage each other. Eventually, the women leave, laughing at the spectacle without liking any of them. The men go off drinking elsewhere, while the women retreat to a cafe and Aina starts having feelings for Iori. Iori, Kohei, and their classmates try to cheat on their German language test, but their plans all backfire. Later, Aina is officially inducted into Peekaboo, only to find herself as the only sane member of the group. She begs the others to put on some clothes after going to the store with Chisa, but returns to find them in the middle of another stripping game. After the party, Shinji and Ryujiro try to run the new members through hand signals to study for their next diving trip, as Iori ends up practicing just to get away from the potential wrath of Nanaka. The next day, Iori goes diving with Chisa while Aina gets past her initial awkwardness, and they both enjoy their time underwater. After passing their German test, Iori's classmates decide to have a party at his place in Grand Blue to check if he actually has a relationship with Chisa. Shinichiro tries to hook up with Nanaka, but ends up running into several naked men instead. As the crew are about to drink, Chisa appears, creating an awkward moment for Iori. The next day, Tinkerbell challenges Peekaboo to a doubles tennis match to get revenge for the humiliation their captain incurred at the festival. Shinji and Ryujiro destroy their opponents with raw power, but Chisa stumbles when the club's compliments make her feel embarrassed about her tennis outfit. Finally, Iori shows surprising skill at tennis, but his partner Kohei can't even hit the ball over the net, forcing Iori to take drastic action to win the match. With their extra winnings from the match secured, the club plans on outing to Okinawa. Shinji offers a part-time job to Iori and Kohei with a moving company, but they spend most of their pay on a bar tab the following night. Looking to earn more money for the upcoming Okinawa trip, the club takes a trip to a local bar where Ryujiro works as a bartender part-time. After watching him work, Iori and Kohei try to tend the bar themselves, but don't know how to mix drinks and anger Aina with their antics. Later, Iori and his classmates hang out and discover that Yu Mitarai is missing from their gathering. Iori then finds out that Yu is busy with his girlfriend and leads his classmates to sabotage their night together out of spite. Iori and Kohei try to set up another mixer for their classmates. Their plan involves dragging Chisa into a King's game with the rest of Peekaboo. Kohei chooses the wrong player while holding the King stick, leading Shinji to set up their mixer with a local men's rugby team. Later, Iori mentions he got another temp job directing traffic for a convention. The Peekaboo crew head to a diving equipment store to buy new gear for their trip. Kohei spots a pair of women's wetsuits that pay homage to a very popular anime, and is elated when Chisa and Aina try them on, even though only he understands the reference. When the crew returns home, Nanaka tells them that they'll have to do more work to make up for the money they spent on new diving gear. The next day, Azusa, Chisa, and Aina end up working at the same convention as Lori and Kohei. Peekaboo arrives in Okinawa for their trip. Aina looks forward to making happy memories, but her initial happiness is quickly dashed when the men of the group start running around naked, leading her to convince the men to head to a public beach where they have to wear swimming trunks. At the beach, Iori and Kohei decide to ride a banana boat to determine which one of them stays in the men's bedroom with Shinji and Ryujiro. However, the two boys both try to sabotage each other in the same way, falling off the boat at the same time. Back at the beach house, Ryujiro determines that Kohei won by a wave. Azusa lets Iori sleep in the same room with her and Nanaka, but he can't fall asleep with the two voluptuous women on either side of him. so he ends up studying the diving license exam guide instead, before taking drastic measures to fall asleep. The next day, Iori, Kohei, and Aina take the diving exam in 2 parts, a written test and a practical exam in deep water. During the test, Aina gets tempted to lie about her remaining oxygen, but Iori helps by reassuring her that the seniors of Peekaboo are better than the ones from her former club. As the group celebrates, Nanaka tells Iori that he's about to fail the test. Iori tries to think of a way to privately practice for the remaining test portion, fearing how Kohei and Aina might react if they see him fail. Peekaboo decides to rent a car so they can go to a nearby fish market. However, the only vehicle that will fit them is a flatbed truck. At the fish market, Aina and Kohei overhear the others asking for lewd things. But Chisa points out they are actually names of fish. Back at the beach house, the group splits into pairs to cook dinner in shifts. Iori manages to pair up with Chisa and asks for help on his diving practice. However, Aina and Kohei think they're dating. That night, Aina follows Chisa downstairs and finds out from her that she was trying to help Iori practice. Aina then helps as Iori strips off his swim trunks. However, a policeman appears, forcing Iori to stay in the pool for fear of being seen nude by him. The next day, he ends up sick in bed. While Aina and Kohei continue their exam, Azusa stays behind to nurse Iori. After some questionable first aid choices, Azusa half-jokingly offers to have sex with Iori, but Iori refuses. He then discovers through Azusa that Shinji already has a girlfriend, and the two of them end up getting drunk, just as Kohei and Aina return with their diving licenses. The members of Peekaboo meet up at Miyakojima to go deep sea diving. Iori, who never finished his exam due to sickness, is forced to stay in shallow waters while being teased about it by Kohei. As the licensed group goes diving, Chisa decides to stay on the boat to comfort Iori, who turns out to be suffering from seasickness. He then tells Chisa that despite missing the license, he had fun diving and would love to come back again. That night, after news that the group has been banned from their chosen restaurant, Shinji and Ryujiro announce that they will hold their own otori in the hotel, where everyone will drink from the giant pot of mixed alcohol. Everyone begins by pouring in spiritus, as Iori and Kohei try to find a way out of drinking such a high level of alcohol, but soon giving in. Aina later takes a trip with a mostly naked Iori to get more booze for the party, and rants about his lack of clothing upon returning. Azusa offers Aina a drink, but she accidentally picks a heavily alcoholic beverage, and her personality completely flips as she scares Iori and Kohei into fleeing from the hotel. Iori and Kohei reflect on their time in the diving club, as Aina quickly tracks them down. And that's the end of the video. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button while you're at it, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Ja ne.